Okay, so let's start with this. This is a typical structure of the 4 boxes in any assignment that you do, and it's classic. So you start your assignment with your introduction, then what we call the body of your work, the body of your text, the big bit. Then you write a conclusion, and then you show your tutor that you've read something with your references. So those are the 4 boxes. Yep, easy. And the kind of strap lines are: tell the reader what you're going to tell them, tell your tutor what you're going to tell them in great detail, tell them what you've told them, in other words, you tell them again, but you focus on what you found out, and then show them that you've read something. I'll say that once more very quickly. Tell the reader what you're going to tell them. This work will, this assignment will, this report does. Tell them in great detail, tell them what you've told them, this report highlighted, and focus on what you found out, and then, for goodness sake, show the tutor that you've read something in order to construct this. Now, in that essay, what I'm going to do now is show you this classic pyramid. And unfortunately, the base of the pyramid is simple stuff. The top of the pyramid is the higher stuff where you get high marks. And it's based on this. That is higher education. This is lower levels of thought, and it's very descriptive. And so when the tutors write, your work is very descriptive, and you get 42%, it's because you're down here. And what I'm going to do today is to take you from what I call this base black layer. I'm going to then take you up into a new layer of thinking called the blue layer. And then I'm going to take you up into the green layer. And then I'm going to take you up into the first class honours marks, the 70s and 80s, the red zone. Okay? And that's Bloom's taxonomy. I'm sure you've heard of that before, but it's about what we're after in higher education. So that pyramid inverted is what I'm now going to do. Now, what I'm going to do to illustrate this is I'm going to say, let's imagine we had to write an assignment on how to get to university, a study of student transport. You remember that? Because that's the essence of what we're going to do. So let's imagine we've got an essay here. It's about how to get to university, a study of student transport. And you'd never have to write an essay like that, but it doesn't matter. We're just going to have fun and imagine that we've got to start thinking around how do students get to university. So I want you to shout out, how could you get to university?
Walk.
Walk. So I'm going to write all these things down. You just basically, not all at once because I can't write that fast and my brain doesn't work like that. Just keep them coming.
Train.
Train.
Drive.
Drive. So actually, I'm assuming you mean drive something. What would that be?
Car.
Car.
Bus.
A bus.
Bicycle.
Bicycle.
Taxi.
Taxi. Somebody's rich.
Tram.
Tram. Good. Yeah, we've got trams in Sheffield. And what you'll find is your brain is finding this quite easy. And then your brain, I imagine, is starting to think, oh, what can I shout out to Colin that maybe will fit over here? Okay, I'll give you a clue. I'm a zoologist.
What's he?
You could come on
Alex.
a horse, an elephant. All right, so we'll have that. So this is just to get your creative juices going. Horse, elephant. Now, we won't dwell on this because we haven't got time. But we don't need to do the whole of the animal kingdom, by the way, giraffe. Let's take that as done. Right, come on. Get the brain going. Creative, innovative.
Fly.
Fly, yeah, good. So you could fly, you could come by helicopter, and you could maybe paraglide. Why not? It's possible. What else is possible? I'll give you a clue. There's a canal just over there. You could come on a barge, you could come by a kayak. And in fact, at the University College Lancaster, a tutor does kayak to university. Keep going. Come on.
Skateboard.
Good. Now, kids in further education love this, and we get, rather like the animal kingdom, we get a flurry of all of these, and so you can imagine what comes out. It's skateboard, heelys, wheelies, I don't know what they are, pogo sticks, I'll just write heelys, so there's all those.
Can I skate if it's a floor?
Sorry?
You can ice skate if it's frozen.
Yeah, you could ice skate if it's frozen.
Ski.
Sorry?
Ski.
And you could ski and all of those things. Yeah, good.
Piggyback.
And you could walk, and on walking you could piggyback, give somebody a lift. And of course, if we had a bit more time, somebody eventually would say you could get here not a real self, but you could actually get here virtually. So we've probably got enough to move to the blue zone. Now the key word is organise. In your assignment, every time you want to go up a level, you've got to organise your thinking. That's a simple word. Got it? What is it? When you've gone to the library, you've got all your notes, you've got to organise it. And when you've organised it, guess what you do next? You organise the organised. And then when you've done that, you organise the organised, and eventually, through organising all of your information, you'll get to the higher levels of thinking. So the key word here is just organise. The brain is looking for patterns. Similarities, differences, yeah, contradictions, all of that is patterns, and the brain's very good at looking at patterns. So, organise this. Blue pen, let's go up a layer, let's move from all this descriptive stuff. Your tutor does not want an essay on the car. The car has 4 wheels, it has an engine, and it can run on petrol or diesel, or fresh air. The tutor doesn't want that. What the tutor wants is some higher understanding of this question of student transport and how to get to university and what actually student transport is all about. So, how could you organise this lot?
All allowed motorised together.
Good. So we've got motorised. So that's motorised, that's motorised, that's motorised, that's motorised, that's motorised. So we've got motorised. And what else have we got besides motorised? The opposites are always useful to think of.
Self-propelled.
So the rest are non-motorised, and they are in different forms. What's the difference between this lot and that one?
Well, walking, there's no physical thing with you.
Yeah, so it's, and how are you getting here? By your own
By your own
human energy. If you came on a horse, an elephant, it would be
using someone else's
animal energy. And if you came on a sailing boat, so let's go back down to the black layer, because we've got another possibility there that's just dawned on us by going through this blue layer. If we sail, what form of power would that be? So we've got an organisation here based on power. Now, come on, speed it up. What other forms of analysis could you have? Here's one. We've got virtual, which makes all the others, what?
Physical.
Real. So we've got virtual and real. Human, powered, motorised. Keep going. What do you notice about these? They're all air. Good. So what else would you have if they're not air? Land, water. Yeah, so there's another way of organising your thinking. How else could you organise this thinking? Keep going. Time to take my jacket off while I give you a bit of space, mental space. What else could you do? Why would you not catch a helicopter? Good. Who said that? It's
Expensive.
a bit louder.
Expensive.
It's expensive. So what's the opposite of expensive?
cheap.
So which ones are cheap? Okay, that's very cheap. And the bus and the bus is probably cheap, but not as cheap as walking. Okay, so we've got cost. We had power, now we've got cost. Cheap, expensive. Any more understandings of this?
Well, whether it's like public or private.
Oh, you're getting good, you're moving straight up towards those first class marks, but you're still a long way off. So we've got public and we've got private. So we've got private transport, and we've got public transport. Good.
Time.
Go on then, you're onto something.
Walking is a bit longer than a normal train.
Speed. So we've got, what's the opposites of speed? A helicopter's really fast. Walking is really slow. So we've got speed. So we've got speed, power.
What about independence? depending on whether you're how early or late you are in the morning.
Ooh,
So punctuality.
yeah, good. Punctuality, frequency. A lot of people like the bus because there's one every
5-10 minutes.
every 5 minutes. So frequency, so frequent,
Well, yeah. that's-
infrequent. So frequency and convenience is a whole interesting dynamic here. Notice I'm not going to write that out, but you come up with that. That's good. Let's keep going. What's the difference between getting on a mode of transport like I do every day, the bus, and being driven to work as opposed to jogging to work?
Activity level.
Sorry?
Yeah, activity level.
Yeah, go on then. Keep going. You're onto something.
Because it's the motivation in the morning as well, or in the afternoon whenever you're going to work.
Keep going. What's the real advantage of walking and jogging?
Fitness.
Good. So you've got
Healthy lifestyle.
good. So you've got health, healthy, fitness, as opposed to not healthy. And of course, not only is it not healthy, but what do we know about some of these other modes of transport?
Dangerous.
Environment.
Who said that? You? Yeah. So we've got environmentally friendly and environmentally unfriendly. You wouldn't have thought that those few little black words would have come up with that level of analysis. So what we're going to do now is, one of the problems you have with your assignments, when you come to think about them, is you have this. You have chaos, and you're in your bedroom, in your flat or whatever, in your student house, at home, and you're thinking, oh my goodness. Well, one of the things that will help the brain is to pull out this next blue layer so you can see it more clearly. So we're going to do that. So help me with that list. What have we got? We've got human-powered, animal-powered, diesel, petrol, wind-powered. So we've got forms of power. Good. What else?
Cost.
We've got cheap and expensive, which is cost, power cost. What else have we got?
Environment.
We've got environmentally friendly, so environmentally friendly versus environmentally unfriendly or damaging. So environmental issues, another one.
Lifestyle.
So we've got healthy versus unhealthy, and fitness versus whatever the opposite of fitness is. We've got public transport, and we've got private transport.
Plausibility. Plausibility.
Plausibility, yeah. The possibility, plausibility, and implausible. Which ones were you thinking of for the implausible?
Elephant. Helicopter.
Yeah, getting an elephant into work. One of the things you missed, of course, is that when you looked at air land, one of the things is underground. You could come through the sewers, and you were guaranteed a place in the Penn Lecture Theatre if you came to the university through the sewers. It would be, well away from you. So we were looking at all sorts of possibilities, but we're nailing it down to some of the most important characteristics that we first thought of. You could actually look at the number of wheels, if you wanted to, which then takes you back to the black layer, because the one we missed was a unicycle. So you begin to interact with the blue and the black layer. Multiple wheels, the tram, 4 wheels, a car, 2 wheels, a bike, 1 wheel, so number of wheels. And of course, some of them are tracked. So you get into all forms of analysis. But what we're interested in is taking our thinking a step higher, because what are we concerned with this transport? We're concerned with, what's the key word in this question? Students. So now what we're going to do is we're going to organise some of our thinking in terms of the word students. Are students really interested in all of this?
No.
No. What do you mean you're not interested? No, you're right. So what wouldn't really, it's irrelevant. What's irrelevant in this list? Yeah, you're not, when you get on the bus, you don't stand there and count the wheels before you get on. Actually, it's not particularly important to you. And in fact, what I'm going to suggest is that we have a classification system here, and we'll call this tertiary. It's not important. Any other tertiary things? I don't think you're probably interested so much in that, but you might be more interested in that because there's a connection there with fuel and environmental impact. Yeah? Okay, let me be honest with you now. If you were to be realistic about this as students, which ones are the primary
Cost.
cost? So that is a primary dynamic here in this research question on how do you get to university, study of student transport. You're saying cost is a primary issue.
Yes.
Yeah. What else besides cost?
Time.
Time. Have we got fast and slow? So we've got it on there, but we forgot to write it down. So the nice thing about this interaction between the layers is it reminds us that we often miss things. So what do we need to write? Fast
Fast.
and slow, which is time. So you're saying that's important? You want something that's fast? You want something that's cheap? Anything else?
Convenient.
And frequency, convenience, is that something we've got down? So let's put that down. We've got that over there. We've got frequency stroke convenience versus not convenient, etc., and it's not frequent. So you're saying that that might be a primary issue as well, convenience and frequency. So does that leave some of these issues as secondary ones? Which ones of those would you say you do care about them, but not as much as what it's going to cost me?
Lifestyle.
Lifestyle, health and fitness. So you kind of are concerned about your health and your fitness, but when it comes to the price and the speed, and I need to get to my lecture, you catch the bus. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay, so would you be willing to say that lifestyle, health and lifestyle is a secondary? Would you say that's the same with environmentally friendliness? So straight away we've got up to, from buses and trams and donkeys and elephants, we're now up into a concept which looks at primary, secondary and tertiary factors influencing student choice. But this is the point at which, before you start getting your first class honours and you think, you're thinking too smart and you're thinking you're going to get high marks, you said that a primary issue here in this analysis, this form of analysis in the green layer and the blue layer, is price. So this is where I want to introduce you to critical thinking. You're making a big assumption, aren't you? What did I say about working with a university in Malaysia? It was the biggest private university in Malaysia. And one of the problems with that university is most of the students are incredibly wealthy. So let's go back to that primary. How do we need to treat this issue? Are you making an assumption? What's the assumption?
So all students think the same.
That all students are broke, poor. If you really want to defend that, what are you going to have to do in your essay?
Do a statistical.
You're going to have to go and find some research that says the average disposable income of a student, the cumulative debt by the end of it in the UK, and therefore in your parameters of what you're going to tell you're going to say this is within a UK context, and you start to defend your categorisation. Now, you've done pretty well, and we've done pretty well because we've done that in record time, and I've pushed you very fast. But now is the difficult one. Ta-da! How do you get? How do you move from bus, tram, donkey, elephant to some intellectual, conceptual stuff that's going to impress your tutors? Let's see if we can do it and impress them. But I would say this to you: it's not easy. And although the tutors won't tell you this, we as tutors struggle as well. When we write papers, we struggle. It is difficult. And I have been known to walk up and down a swimming pool for a long, long time in Spain with my brother-in-law, saying to myself, because we weren't allowed to swim until 3 o'clock because we both had work to do, and we're in this villa. So I wasn't allowed to get in the pool, and I love swimming, and I'm walking up and down saying, I'm trying to write a paper. And I kept saying to myself, Colin, what exactly are you trying to say? And that's the trouble. Sometimes we can't say what we know, and we can't get our thoughts together, and that might happen now, or we'll have a go. So what's the secret word to move from the green to the red? Organise. So we need to organise. What have we got? So let me try you. This is what you've come up with. you've suggested that there are three major parameters that affect student choice in transport. What are they?
Cost.
Price? That's a dollar, by the way.
Speed.
Speed? Well, let's put speed on there, because I can highlight something for you. And what's the other dynamic? Frequency, convenience, and those things, yeah? So if I create a grid here, and that's cheap and that's expensive, and that is fast and that's slow, what's in that grid? Oh, I wasn't expecting to do that. You've gone straight to an illustrative black example, which you can show your tutor. Walking is slow but cheap. And what I was looking for was what ingredients, and of course it is cheap and slow. So what's in this one?
Expensive. Expensive.
Shout it out.
Expensive and slow.
Expensive and slow. That's not good, is it? What's in this one?
Cheap and fast.
Cheap and fast. And what's in this one?
Expensive and fast.
Expensive and fast. And which is the one that students would prefer?
Cheap and slow.
That one. And what we want to do is to illustrate to the tutor, yeah, some of the examples that illustrate this complexity of choice. So we've got, up in this red zone, three elements of primary drivers of choice. But what do we also know from our analysis? What were the secondary ones? How could you describe the difference between these that are driving your choice as students on transport and these in-betweeny ones? So let's go back one step. What were the in-betweeny ones, the secondary ones, that drive, that you're thinking about, but you're only thinking about them? What are they?
The healthy or unhealthy lifestyle.
So your health, and what was the other one?
Environment.
And the environment, you're saying, are secondary, and somehow they're different to these. Can you describe what those might be classed as, rather than those? There's something, isn't there, that makes them different. Try and find words that say, well, Colin, I'm more interested in these because, and I'm slightly less interested in these because.
It's a choice, isn't it? I mean, you choose the first one and then it sort of comes with the second. So if you choose the tram, it's environmentally friendly, but you're not walking, so it's not helpful.
So there's a kind of a link there, in some senses, by default. Yeah? So there's a kind of a default link, and you're kind of justifying it by choice of these. Okay, I'm going to help you because I think we're trained as tutors in big words. By the way, I'll give you a trick. Highlight the word. Yeah? Highlight a word. Press Function F7. Gives you a thesaurus. And you'll find that there are words that will impress your tutor in that thesaurus. So a word that impresses your tutor is, these are drivers of choice, which I would describe as utility, utilitarian, yeah? Speed, price, very functional. They're not personal, they're impersonal dynamics, they're very functional, they're very utilitarian, yeah? Price. So what are these?
Personal.
They're very personal, and what about them? They're not only personal, they are... There's some people in this room that actually couldn't care less about the environment. They are what? They're about your own set of values. So these are more personal, they're more value-driven, and there appears to be a tension between these very basic utilitarian choices. I'll catch the bus because it's every 5 minutes, and it gets me in there faster than walking. But I'd like to walk, and I'd like to jog, and I'd like to get on my bike, but is that a fair summary? So, because I'm conscious of the time, just to wind this up, can you see how we've moved from very, very basic, going to the library, reading basic things, and all we did was we organised our thoughts and classified these things here, then we organised and classified these, and then we basically pushed ourselves a little bit further, and we came up with this final conclusion, and this is what we'll be doing down here, and focus on what you found out, tell the tutor. This essay started by exploring all the basic modes of. It then moved on to a, basic, and it then... So tell me what you'd write in here. This is going to require you to be brave. What could you write in there and tell the tutor what you'd found out from its analysis?
If
A
I-
summary of like the results, saying what, highlighting like the key things that you found out.
Yeah, so here we're going to highlight the key things. What are they? Have a go at trying to sum them up.
If I was you, what's some research?
Can somebody put that back into words for me? So what we discover is there is
A link between
there's, on the one hand, there's a link between utility and choice
And personal
and very
value.
personal, value-driven judgments. So there's a link, but also there's a tension. You can see how your essay is suddenly moving into something that's quite conceptual, intellectual, and you can follow that through. Now that's a very, very simple example, but do you get the drift? So what I want you to do now, as we've finished the filming, is I just want you to sit down with your friends, whoever you sat next to, and say, does that, this is the key question, does that help me with my assignments in the future? Does that help me to understand why I'm getting 40% and 50% and not 50 to 60% and 60 to 70% and over 70%? So go and have a conversation. That's what's important now at this stage. Go and talk to each other